What were the Buck and Mike experience?
Experience sports like you never have before.
Where the Buck stops?
And the mic drops.
Bam. Man. All right. This is going to be fun.
It's going to be a good episode. It's gonna be a
Had
good
our days
episode.
of the weeks mixed up, so we both forgot what day it was until it was 30 minutes before go time. So we rushed it all together, and we're going to make this happen.
Luckily, I took a lot of notes earlier today. So.
Yeah, see? We're looky there. So, that said, any good adventures this week?
Adventures? No. Other than getting sick again.
Oh, my goodness. Not again.
Yeah. Oh, again. I already went to the doctor, and I don't have anything. It's just my allergies jacked up and trying to cause me to get nasal and ear infection again. So they gave me a steroid shot this time. They're like, hey, you need to take allergy medicine every day. And I was like, okay. I was like, I do that. They're like, you need to check to see if it's expired. And I went home and looked, and it was expired 2 years ago. So I had to go get some more allergy medicine.
So he's on new allergy medicine. That's awesome. Who'd have thought to check the expiration date on their meds?
Right?
I bet I got a bottle of Tylenol that's been expired like 5 years in my pantry.
And you're like, oh man, it works. It's great.
I throw 2 Tylenol.
Like,
I guess that does tell you though that if you're a doomsdayer, prepping allergy medicine doesn't do you any good. Like, at the end of the world, you're gonna run out.
If
You better work on
If you leave
immunity.
it long enough, like it's still gonna work, but it's not gonna be as potent.
Which
Like-
means you're going to be doubling and tripling up.
Yeah.
So you need to factor that into your hoarding. I'm just throwing that out there for our hoarders in the world. So with that said, I guess I'm going to assume we're going to start with the hottest topic of the week, and that would be the college football in the playoff. And
Yeah,
how all
yeah.
that shook out.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of figured we'd
I mean,
end
it
up on.
shook out exactly the way I thought it would.
It did.
It landed
came out
exactly the way I thought.
It was the exact way. I posted in our team group, our page group, 6 hours before it all came out. Hey,
Yep.
this is what it's going to be. This is what I think it's going to be. And the committee actually did what I thought.
And then I
didn't think they had the
swooped in there
balls.
and I said, or you said, do you think they'll have the balls to do it? I was absolutely they do.
Yeah, I didn't. Even with it being in their bylaws, I just felt like they would. They didn't want to. But then, I don't know. I went a lot back on it. But then when I found out why the playoff was denied a year, you know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to expand this year. You know who the leading voice in the room was on not expanding this year?
Saban.
No.
No? Oh.
The commissioner of the ACC.
Oh.
If he lets it expand, his team's in. Like, it's literally on him. They said that when
wow.
everybody was in the room lobbying for it, he was the loudest voice in the room to say, wait one more year. And now he's the first guy looking back in.
That's funny.
Yeah. Like,
That's funny.
Like, I'm not saying that you can't make a case for how Florida State should be in. I'm not saying any of that. I get all those arguments.
Mm-hmm.
There's numbers that can go either way to help you. But is that not like some kind of karma?
Oh man, that's massive karma.
Like,
That's massive karma.
that is like, you cost all these people tons of money for these extra playoff games, and with that, here's karma. Like, right in the face.
Yeah, and that probably went into a little bit of their decision. They're like, you know what? You were against this, and you know what? We're just going to keep you out of it. Like, I do think that Florida State, a part of me felt like they deserved just because they were undefeated, but the other part of me was like, they're without him, they're with Travis Hunter, no,
Jordan
Travis
Travis.
Hunter. Jordan Travis. Without Jordan Travis, they were just not that good. And I went back and I was looking, so.
Their defense is that good. Their
Yes.
offense is not that
It's not. And so they struggled again to put up points against Louisville last week.
Correct.
And Louisville just got hung 38 on by Kentucky.
Kentucky, which is what we would call an average to below average SEC team.
And then the week before, they got hung 31 on. But they won that game.
Yeah.
Like, they're giving up scores.
Yes, they're number.
So the fact that now I know it's the third string quarterback and Bodemaker, whatever his name is, the second string that was hurt and didn't get to play.
Yeah, 'cause he got
Rodemaker.
hurt in the first game
Yeah.
that he took over for.
Yeah.
So
So him, like they probably would have done a little bit better, but the fact that the score was 3-3 all the way going into the fourth quarter, Like, that tells a lot about that game. It tells a
Exactly.
lot
And
about Florida State. And then I went back and I started looking at some of Florida State's games. And, like, you can do this with anybody, but Florida State is the one that was on that bubble, so I had to go back and look and kind of and see what was going on. The game before Jordan Travis got hurt, they struggled in that game with him at quarterback.
They were losing late into the second quarter against a Division II team that they probably paid $1 million to
I
come
think
play.
that's who it was.
Yeah.
So he was struggling against them, and I was like, well, no wonder why the commissioner was like, they're really not the same team. Like, they were barely that team with him.
Exactly.
So, like, it was him and Keon Coleman, and other than that offense had nothing else.
Yeah, if no one can get the ball to Coleman,
So-
then it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, so, like, there was a part of me that felt like 13-0, you deserve to be there, but at the same time, you're not that same 13-0 team.
Well,
And there's no reason to put you in there just to get mollywopped, because now you're at 5th, and you'll be going against number 6 Georgia.
Yeah, which one, the College Football Playoff Committee is hoping that Georgia just stomps their dicks in. Like,
Just
you just-
bludgeons them.
yes, because then they go, see, we told you so. We told you that's what was going to happen.
Yep.
And if you take, and then looking at the fact that, like we said, the game right before Travis, the game after Travis got hurt, they didn't look good with the second stringer even before he got hurt.
And that was against Florida.
Yeah, and then you look at the fact that you're going to be facing, in the number one team in the nation's got McCarthy, NFL prospects, rock solid defense. Then you go to Penix, who's all season, for excluding a little bit of a rut, been balling all out.
Yeah.
And then you got Quinn Ewers, who over the last 3 weeks you can't say hasn't thrown it all over the
been
place. You're going to tell me that
crazy
your backup was ready to hang with those boys? Milroy gives them an offensive opportunity for a good football game.
Yep.
So,
It sucks, but they made the right decision.
agreed. Yes.
Like, and so
I
talking
hate
about
both
these,
those teams.
and talking about that, you have the Rose Bowl, which is going to be Bama and Michigan. And funny enough, Michigan is only favored by 1.5 earlier today. That I looked. And
Yes,
know
I
how
believe
much
that's the
changed.
case. I believe both college football playoff games were the same spread. No, they're not. Okay, so now it is a 1.5 point Michigan favor.
Okay. The crazy thing is that this is what I found on Twitter. 89% of the bets and 93% of the money is on the Alabama money line for the upcoming game against Michigan.
It's probably what's moving the line then. Well, it keeps flowing down. At some point, I wouldn't be shocked if by the
So-
time we get to the game, it's at a half point.
Like, that is like, and to me, I think Michigan is a good team, but Bama, the way they're playing right now, I think Bama can beat them. Like, I think Michigan is a really good team,
What?
but Alabama right now is a really good team.
And as good as Michigan's defense is, we haven't seen them play a Milroy. If you'd have said that 6 weeks ago, I told you you're crazy because the kid wasn't good.
He got benched.
But you want to talk about the ultimate in taking a message. They sat him one game, and they looked at him and said, "Are you ready to try this shit again?" And he said, "Yep," and played like a Heisman candidate the rest of the season. I mean, that kid changes the entirety of their season. Like, that Milroy's playing the second week of the season. That Texas Bama game's like a 2-point game probably, and no one's arguing that they're both getting in.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, no, he's definitely. I just don't know that Michigan has seen a threat like him
Mm-mm.
to be able to scheme for it. And I mean, yes, they've
Like,
got
the
all
best-
these weeks to
really
practice
the best
for it.
team that they faced was Ohio State.
Yeah, and and McCord, who's not even going to be staying at Ohio State
No,
now,
he's gone. He's
is
transferring.
is more of your pocket guy. Like, he can move a little, but he's not going to get out and run it down the sideline for 80 yards if you leave a hole. Like,
Right, yeah.
So,
And then getting to the Sugar Bowl.
the All-State Sugar Bowl.
This is actually the Remember the Alamo Bowl. Because last year, Washington and Texas faced off in the Alamo Bowl.
Did they really?
Yeah. And
That's
Washington won
hilarious.
27-20.
27-20.
So,
Ooh.
this is a Remember the Alamo Bowl. So, it's a rematch.
That's bad. That Texas lost an Alamo Bowl. That's a home game.
Yeah.
That's a home game.
So, I'm really hoping, and Texas is favored by 4. I'm really hoping Texas takes this. I mean, Penix he's a good college quarterback. I don't think he's going to be anything in the NFL, but in college, he's got a really good offensive line. Like, this is going to be from what I know of these two teams. This is going to be a battle in the trenches of a great offensive line of Washington and a great defensive line of Texas, like battling each other. Like this is going to be one of those type of games. Like now, there's still going to be some points put on the board because Roma Dunze is a bad dude on the outside.
Absolutely.
Like he's a bad dude. But the biggest thing on this is, can Washington protect Penix? Because all throughout the year, Washington is top 5 in fewest pressures allowed.
Okay.
And so now you're facing a
It's
legitimate
Super Bowl
defensive
last
line
year.
type of defense where are you going to actually be able to protect Penix? Because if you don't, Penix is probably going to have a really bad game.
Yeah.
Because Penix, to me, is kind of what Jared Goff is in the NFL, where when he's got time and he can make the throws, like Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the league. But when he don't have the time, he is the worst quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's where Penix is. Like,
Okay.
I wouldn't say he's the worst, but he's not near as good when he's under pressure.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, it'll be fun. I think I don't know. I think Washington kind of looked a lot better against Oregon, but Texas has been playing good for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think Texas is going to win. I'm also scared that Alabama could win, and then I don't know that I'll watch the
Just
national title.
another, just a rematch,
Mm.
like round 3.
Yeah. Except for, was it round 2 is when McCoy got hurt, right?
No. We played Bama last year.
Oh, the last
in
2
Texas.
seasons. Yeah, that's right.
and they won, and then we played them this year in Tuscaloosa, and
And
we
y'all
won.
won, and then you have a neutral site to split it.
So that'd be pretty fun.
That would be. It would be fun giving them the neutral ground too, especially because you'd actually get a neutral site. Some of these neutral site games,
Well,
like
I mean, the Sugar Bowl,
well,
it's in the South.
yeah, well, I mean, like there was one, there was a few. You remember LSU plays Florida State this season?
Oh yeah.
Early this season. It was a neutral site game. You know where that game was played? Orlando. That's actually farther from Louisiana than Tallahassee is, where Florida State's located. Like, what are we doing? It's not neutral site. Like, and it's fun because you see a lot of these bowl games that come up that way, where you're like you said there, where Washington came down to San Antonio to play Austin, who moved up a 2-hour drive or whatever it is. Like,
And then some of the other games that you got going on in the Citrus Bowl, Iowa at Tennessee. I'm fairly certain Tennessee's just going to walk all over them. The Fiesta Bowl with Oregon and Liberty, that's going to be...
it'll be interesting because there are a lot of people that didn't think Liberty deserved this shot. Like, they gave them that non-power conference, not even really a big conference nod. I think it's a crappy opponent to give that nod because honestly, Oregon's the first team out of the playoff because they lost to the same team twice. It's in the playoff.
Yeah.
Like, they're that caliber of team.
Yeah.
So, that said, if Liberty goes out and gets a win, looks pretty damn good. Like,
there was an argument that... So, someone was bringing up how Florida State should get in because they were undefeated. And I brought up, I was like, look, if you're going to let someone in that's undefeated, you have to let Liberty in.
Yeah.
Like, you have to.
That's
you
fine.
can't just bend the rule for one team because they're good.
Yeah.
Like, you have to bend the rule for the other team too.
You can't say they're Power 5. Nope, we're bending the rule for
Like,
undefeated.
So
There we go.
I made that, and they were like, well, it's different because I'm like, no. If we're talking about wins and losses matter, then you should be putting the undefeated teams, who are supposed to be the better teams, in. It doesn't matter.
This is the definition of starting an argument that you don't even believe in, but keeping it just to make that person feel stupid.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Because I know darn well
Oh,
you don't
I
think
went
UCF was a
for-
declared national champion like
Right,
that.
yeah.
So,
Like, I
but they're
went
doing the same thing.
45 minutes arguing with this dude. Like, I was
Probably don't
just-
even know his name.
No, there's some random dude in a group, and I think I even did it on Twitter too.
Oh, that's
But-
awesome.
Because I was like, if we're going to talk about wins, like, we're talking about something completely different. Like, if you're trying to put in the strength of schedule and all that stuff to make an argument, but the video was, I forgot who it was. Everyone was upset about Florida State not being in, so there was a bunch of videos. But one brought up, I think it was the game day because they had Charles Woodson was the one that was arguing about it.
Yeah.
He goes, we're talking about wins, and now we're showing that even if you go 13-0, you may not get in. Like, it's supposed to be about the wins. And I was like, well, if it's about the wins,
Then you have to
Liberty
put Liberty
has
in.
to be in there because you put them in the top 25. That means if you're putting them in the top 25, they should be in
I
there.
think they are officially nationally good enough to play
Yeah.
the big dogs.
So you have to do that. Now,
There
do
are
I
some
believe
good
that? Absolutely not, because Liberty is not. And this is going to show the
I mean, it's
reason
a
why they were
14
just
and a half
barely
point
in.
spread. Like,
Yeah.
it's a huge spread.
Oh wait, it's down to 14.5.
Yeah.
Oh, it was at 16 earlier.
Was it really?
Yeah.
No, there's 14 and a half right now. So.
Oh,
I will say, as
maybe
I,
Liberty's getting you something there.
as I dive into it more, they're only getting 22% of the picks.
Oh.
Just on this picking list. As I dive into some of the games more, though, like looking at the ranks, like based solely off what ranking you're looking at, Florida State, Georgia should be a good game. But like we said, the college football committee wants them to steamroll. But
Mhm.
like Penn State, Ole Miss should be a good ball game.
Yeah.
I think this shows
Yeah,
Penn
right.
State is the favorite.
Yeah, 3.5 or was 3.5.
The game's in Georgia. Just so we're clear, it's at the Ole
Chick-fil-A
Miss.
Bowl.
Yeah, they're playing in
Oh.
Georgia.
Ole Miss.
Penn State, like just so we can talk about neutral sites and things like that. But like Ohio State, Missouri, that shouldn't be a bad game.
The Cotton Bowl, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that one's in
Yeah.
the backyard.
And
That's
Missouri is favored by 1.5 earlier, and that's because
You got them favored by 1.5. We got some crazy different lines. going on.
Missouri was favored by 1.5 earlier.
ESPN has Ohio State by 6.5. And I'm assuming McCord's not going to quarterback since he just said he was transferring.
Yeah, and MHJ is he ain't.
Yeah, you're not going to have Marvin Harrison Jr. either. Like,
So let me look at that real quick. Maybe I wrote the wrong thing down,
I don't know.
but I'm fairly certain that it. showed
Missouri's the
Missouri
kind of
at
school
1.5.
that they're going to play all their players because none of them are like highly touted prospects. So this is another show-off game. If a full-strength Missouri comes in to play Ohio State, I think Missouri's going to win the football game. I don't even know who the quarterback for Ohio State would be.
Yeah. Look. Missouri is favored by 1.5.
Huh.
On ESPN.
You saw the one I had up right there.
Yeah.
Minus 6.5.
That's weird.
And I don't know where this sound is coming from. Sorry. There we go.
Yeah, I thought I wrote that down
here,
correctly.
yeah, but then when you click on it here, it says, 1.5 over under 49.5.
Huh. That is strange. But
Interesting.
it shows 75% win percentage for Ohio State.
Yeah, 75% of the money's coming in on Ohio State right now, according to ESPN predictors.
But yeah, so I mean, with McCord being gone, I don't know who their quarterback is going to be.
Yeah, I don't even know who the backup would be.
And so that's actually, let's see, who is Ohio
State's
State
backup. That one's got a wide spread for a closely ranked opponents too.
ball depth chart?
Who is Ohio State's football depth chart? What'd you say?
Ohio State football depth chart.
Yeah.
So Devin Brown, which is a redshirt freshman.
That means he was redshirted last year. And I put it all together.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Hasn't played any.
Wasn't Arch is technically a redshirt this year, right? Because he's played below a certain number of
Mhm.
snaps.
Yeah, he was allowed to play at least 3 games.
So.
And that's what they did. They let him into the last few to get some playing time.
Oh yeah, and now that they knew that, and once they knew there was a chance of being a playoff contender, you want to have him active, so he's kind of the active roster.
And then Emeka Egbuka, I don't even know if he's going to be playing.
Yeah,
Because he could be
first round talent
transferring
on
for
a
the
lot
draft.
of
Not transferring, but going to the draft also.
training for the draft. Yeah, I mean, you could see a shell of Ohio State, so Missouri should. I don't know. Especially if the 6.5 one was a betting line. I'm gonna go take the Missouri in the 6.5 and go put that money in right now. With that said, I gotta bring up my bet winnings, everybody.
Oh yeah, you did do that, yeah.
Yeah, I'll bring that one up when we get to the NFL.
And then we got let's see, Oregon State and Notre Dame. Notre Dame is favored by 8.5. This is Oregon State. DJ Ugalele, he's transferring also.
Yeah,
So
I don't get that.
My thing is, I feel like he's going. I think he's going to go to Oregon, just because
What
he
is-
went to Oregon State to be with his brother, to be near his brother,
His
who
brother's
plays at Oregon.
on Oregon, but they had Bo Nix, so there was no reason to go.
So now that Bo Nix is going to be going to the draft,
and he'll
they're
have
going to need a quarterback.
and he has 1 year of eligibility, and there's moving to the Big Ten, so he would be able to go play Big Ten schools and try to save his NFL career.
Yeah.
Man.
So
That's
that's
deep
that's
thought.
where
I didn't think about that.
think, because like the whole point of him going to Oregon State was just to be closer to his brother, and now that there's an opening where his brother plays, like it just now there was some other people that told me that Ohio State is somewhere where he might go,
Which they don't have the lock at quarterback right now.
but who was it? Got him right here. Dante Moore could be going to either Ohio State or Michigan,
Where is he coming out of?
UCLA.
UCLA. Okay.
He was 5-star recruit. He was recruited hard by Michigan. He decided not to go there because he wasn't going to start over J.J. McCarthy. So he went to UCLA where he could start. And now that 2 jobs are going to be available in 2 of the biggest fucking schools,
Yeah.
like
And-
he's going to be choosing one of them.
And he's leaving. And once again, schools that are going to the Big Ten. Why would you want to be the bottom feeder of the Big
Yeah,
Ten?
yeah.
You weren't a very like UCLA was a middle of the road Pac-12 team. They're only going to the Big Ten because USC's going. They're a package
Who's
deal.
also losing their quarterback.
Who's also losing their starting quarterback,
Maybe.
and so you have this package deal going there. Hell yeah, I'd get out of there and go to one of the schools that was going to beat me anyway.
Speaking of, there is actually a lot of transfers that happened. Riley Leonard, he went into the transfer portal, the quarterback
That's
from
the Duke quarterback. We talked about him going to A&M last week. We
Yeah.
think.
Then you got Kyle McCord that we just talked about from Ohio State.
Where the hell he's going?
Dylan Gabriel decided he didn't want to play at Oklahoma.
Which that one surprised me, but I
It
think
is.
that one really surprised me because he had a good season. They from year 1 to year 2. You're making the transition. You're going to the SEC, which is going to line up for you to try to see if you can get a career at the next level. Like a little surprising, but then I think I heard that he might look at like an Ole Miss or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
I heard that.
Is that what you heard too? Yeah.
And so you got that one. You got DJ Ugalele, and then Miami's Tyler Van Dyke. He decided he was going to transfer.
Yeah.
He was one that 2 years ago, Dane Brugler talked about he could be a first rounder, and then just never lived up to the hype, and just kind of fell. Miami
Wonder how
wasn't
much-
good.
I wonder how much that's Miami though, because
Yeah.
Miami's had a lot of trouble. So
Yeah.
he could be a salvage it.
There was Carson Ward, I think that's who it was, South Carolina quarterback. He's
Okay.
transferring.
Oh, and Cameron Ward for Washington State. is
Cam
also-
Ward, that's who it is.
Yeah, Cameron Ward from Washington State. Yeah, he's doing it.
Okay. Him, Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina. He's transferring, and then Tyler Show from Texas Tech. He's transferring to Louisville, so he's already got his spot. So that was whenever I was looking at it. I was like, oh, he's transferring out of Texas Tech, and then right to the side, I was like, oh, he's going to Louisville.
He already.
Like he's
got it.
already.
The portal's really been open in 2 days. And Deion's already said I'm getting linemen. All these quarterbacks. He's like, y'all have fun with that. I'm getting linemen.
Devin Manuel from Arkansas. He was 6'8", 350 pounds. Had him there yesterday, or
Yeah.
or might have been today. I think it was yesterday. He
I
had
would,
there
I would
yesterday.
have every lineman that hit the. Hey,
So
you
yeah.
come protect my son.
He
We'll
is-
all go pro.
He is gunning to find offensive linemen. Like now, when I looked at that was in the portal so far, he's the only one that was like a 5-star. Everyone else is like 3s. So
Yeah,
Deion
but
may not be going for those
He
guys.
took 1-stars with him.
No, he didn't.
From Jackson State, he took 1s and 2-stars. They said a lot of the guys were. Like,
He only took like a handful.
oh.
Yeah, he didn't
I think
take.
it
He
makes it
didn't
sound
take.
like he brought like the guys from Jackson State with him,
No.
and they were just so undersized in comparison.
No,
Huh.
a lot of the guys were already there
They were
from
just
Colorado,
bad,
and then
right?
he got some transfers that were like 3 stars. Like none of those offensive linemen that he had were above a 3-star.
Yeah.
Like they were all 3 and under that were
so
starting.
He's still chasing them.
So he's actually trying to get that legitimate offensive lineman
Okay.
because he got the cornerbacks. He got Travis Hunter, obviously his son, and both of his sons.
Other number 1 corner
And then
on the other side.
that other one that is was not.
Shockingly not transferring.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that he was transferring. That's shocking to me because of the fact that he was so hard on him and how kids are these days. Like, I hope he balls out. Like, I hope the kid becomes a stud because he took it.
I hope so. Like.
Now I hate kids that transfer to get a starting job.
Right. And then the other thing that was did you know that there was a Pop-Tart Bowl?
Yeah, the coach said he,
I didn't realize that.
The Pop-Tart mascot is going to be an edible Pop-Tart, and the coach of, I think it's South Carolina that's in the game, or one of them, NC State maybe?
North Carolina State.
Yeah,
Kansas State.
I think he was like, they were like, would you taste, he made a joke, I guess, earlier in the season about eating something, and he was like, they asked him, they're like, would you take a bite out of the Pop-Tart if y'all won the game? He goes, well, it depends on the flavor, because if it's one of those brown sugar ones, I'll bring some bourbon, and why not? Or something like that. So, he seems pretty funny. But yeah, I saw that bowl.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a Pop-Tart Bowl until
I think that's a new name this year, though.
What in the world?
Well, you know there's like 43 bowls.
Yeah.
There's so many. Like, do you see the Wish App Red River rivalry game, the Oklahoma State A&M game? They called it the Wish App Red River rivalry.
Red River rivalry.
Yeah, it's a lot of R's right now. That was what they were calling it on Facebook because
Wish App Red River rivalry. That's great.
Yeah, you're literally taking the two opposite schools. You're just like, okay, y'all go. Like, the only way it'd be worse is if they were sending like Tech to play in the bowl game. Like,
that would be, which they are.
Yes, we are bowl eligible. We ended up with 6-6 on the. No, we finished at 5-7. We didn't get a bowl game.
No.
Yeah, we did. Here it is. 6-6. We play Cal. No, Radiance Technology Independence Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those early bowls where no one knows it's on because you suck. You should be playing at 6-6.
The other thing that I saw today was, Ohio State in the transfer portal, they're losing 8 people, and 3 of them are like starters. Like that, and one of them is. Does
that tell you that maybe they're hearing whispers? Maybe Ryan Day rumors. Maybe Ryan Day's.
Or maybe they just want to get away from Ryan Day.
Or maybe we might see some jobs opening in the league. Maybe people are going to drop down to the college level. Ryan Day's a young dude, and the only thing that's beating him at Ohio State is like Michigan. So can't say he can't coach.
And so there was one other thing that's going on in college football right now. Is there's a new the FBS is permitting schools to compensate athletes now.
Yay! So literally pro athletics, guys, or semi-pro, we'll call it.
Yeah, and they're basically like buying out the NIL deals that are like bad for the player in a way. So they're allowing them to buy them out of those, so they can get out of a bad NIL deal in a way. Like it's kind of helping the player out, but because.
But who's to determine?
So
if it's
I don't know if you heard
deal?
this, but one of the Texas A&M guys before Stoops got fired, it was after Stoops got fired, but he had transferred out because he never got paid from any of his NIL money.
Oh, that's right. I heard about that.
So I think that's what a lot is going on is they're trying to change some stuff so like these players still get paid what they're supposed to be getting paid, but the schools have to dump money into this program, and it's for the men and the women. It's not just for football.
They need to make sure. Well, you've got some women out there that are making some. Olivia Dunn at LSU making bang. She's like one of the third highest paid college athlete. But that said, I don't know. They got to figure. There's got to be some kind of control over all this, though. I mean, these contracts to like you have. If we're not going to let them get to the NFL for 3 years, like some of these NIL deals, especially the regional ones, I'm putting them down that we're signing for a 3-year deal. Like. There will be a clause that says if the coach gets fired, you can get out. If you suffer an injury, you can get out. Otherwise, you're committing to stay here at the school that I'm paying money to bring your ass to.
Yep.
Because that's like you said, like we talked about, we're getting all these kids now that you've got guys like Kyle McCord who were starting quarterbacks at some of the best schools in the nation leaving.
And that's probably because they're going to bring someone else in that was going to beat him out. So he was like,
but
I'll just get out of here. Because did you know that's Marvin Harrison Jr.'s high school quarterback too?
McCord?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
So they've been together their entire base of life.
I thought McCord was a freshman for some reason or a sophomore.
Well, I mean that was his quarterback though. in high school.
Okay, I got you. That's
So,
why I misunderstood.
Like that's why like they've been together, and that's why apparently he went to Ohio State, is to be with Marvin Harrison.
And since Marvin Harrison's gone, he's like,
He's
I
got no
don't
reason to
wanna
be there,
be-
though. Yeah.
And he can, I mean, because he started for Ohio State, he can still go play.
Oh, yeah.
Half
Oh,
the
yeah.
schools in the nation and start right away.
Yeah.
The sad thing is, there's like 1,400 kids or whatever in the portal, and you realize that 500 to 600 of those will end up on a team less than what they were already on, or not on a team at all, and that'll have been the last game of football they ever played.
Yep. Yep.
Because of new coming freshmen and all this, like, how many of these kids didn't think
Like-
about what happens if what I thought was out there isn't out there?
To me, if you're a 2-star and under, you might as well just stay where you're at. Like,
Yeah.
do not even try to go somewhere
No,
else.
100%. If you make it the team, unless you know for a fact that you've bettered yourself and you're saying you're transferring out of, like, Liberty, just giving an example. If I go to Liberty and I'm their starting quarterback and I have Shadur Sanders this season, like he did at Colorado this year, all right, come on now. Because then
Yeah.
you can get to a bigger program and try to show out, because if you're doing it to get a career, next level opportunity, I get it.
Yeah.
But if you're just chasing it because you don't want to compete for the job anymore, like there it seems like guys now that are just going, oh, there's a quarterback competition. There's not one of those at Kentucky.
I'd rather just go there, and that way I
Yeah.
can just start.
It's just, I don't know, it just goes to show the brokenness of children
And then,
now.
speaking of that, I did back to the FSU thing. I did see something where the NCAA is actually going to save $100 million in revenue loss by not having FSU in there.
Will make $100 million less or more.
If FSU was in there, they would make $150 million less.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have the SEC network broadcasting the game. That one network alone makes
So
a difference.
yeah, so that's a lot. What that was.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, now let's get to the NFL.
While we do that, I'm going to walk over here and check our battery.
All right,
We want to make sure we're going to survive the show.
where we at?
We're at 33 minutes, but it doesn't say battery.
Okay.
So what happened?
Well, there was a lot going on this week. The Eagles lost.
They did.
They lost to the 49ers. Now Philly's got to play Dallas. And funny enough, Shaq Leonard, the big free agent this week, he had to choose between the Eagles and the Cowboys, who play each other this week.
Yeah, that is
And
pretty
he
funny.
chose the Philadelphia Eagles, and it was a 1-year, $700,000 deal.
I don't know why they actually say 1 year. It should just say season's end, because
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's not like he's actually getting into any part of next year.
Right, yeah, it's literally just the end of the season.
And my
So that's all he's getting. Based on what I've seen from him, I think he's going to be there for depth. He ain't going to be a starter. Like, there's a reason Indianapolis just cut him.
yeah, and Indianapolis
and
is
watching
not playing
highlights of
bad
it-
this season.
You're going, oh. Like, he was missing tackles nonstop.
I also heard he
Couldn't
can't,
cover.
He's not moving well. Like
Yeah, well,
he's
he
not,
had 2 back surgeries.
Yeah, like he's just not laterally cutting in a way that he can get to the place to make the tackle.
Yeah. So he's not the same guy anymore, and that sucks. But I was kind of on the fence about getting him. Like, I was like, we need the depth. We just lost Leighton Vander Esch. It would be nice to have him. He's going there. They're going to come down here to Dallas, and hopefully we can
I
get a win in that.
My calendar projection of the season this week, I did pick Dallas to win this game. And if that happens, prior to how my season continues, it would put Dallas in a tie with Philadelphia and San Fran for the 1 seed by record. And because they're all 3 tied, it actually moves Dallas to the 1 seed until San Francisco wins their game.
Really?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So you can touch the 1 seed for a minute for you Dallas Cowboy fans.
Yeah, man,
Because
it's one of
I've
those.
now been playing with the football playoff simulator like all week since discovering it last week. Like, I just keep flipping the little switches. Like, wow, this team. Well, what if this team beats this team? And it's crazy because you could flip one switch and the Falcons won the division.
And see, because any given Sunday, right?
True.
All right, so I just got through kind of arguing with someone else, where someone had brought up that the Eagles suck because they lost to the 49ers and they got blew out. But I pointed out, I was like, as a Cowboys fan, Like, you got to understand, they just came off of 3 games in 13 days.
Yes, that's the other part of that.
And their final game was against a team that was pretty much known as the better team all season long.
Yeah.
But
excluding a 3-week stretch. There was a 3-week stretch where we were like,
they were a much better team. And then someone popped in and goes, well, the Cowboys played 3 games in 12. I'm like, yeah, but they played Seattle.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Seattle coming
won.
into Dallas, they could barely put points up on the board in 3 of the 4 games that they played.
And then they
hung up 31.
Yeah. Thanks, Gino, for the 50 spot on the bench in my fantasy league.
Like, so I was like, there's a difference between Philadelphia coming off of their 13 days and 3 games and having to face San Francisco versus Dallas coming off of their 12 days and 3 games facing Seattle. Like, there's a big difference there. But
exactly. And
the
Seattle has
argument
not
I
been
kept getting
playing
from
good.
other Cowboys fans is any given Sunday, they know the schedule like at the beginning of the year. Like, no shit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's a difference between facing San Francisco and facing Seattle.
In the way the body recovers and everything that goes into getting to that point.
Exactly.
Like, what kind of style of game did you play the 2 games prior to that 12 games? Like, how physically ready were you for that last game? And when you're playing San Francisco, they are a bruising team. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It wasn't talked about enough, I don't think, that the Eagles had such a
brutal, like they had a grueling
teams.
schedule. Like, everyone talks about how they were in this little gauntlet of a schedule.
They played their run of the schedule was Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo, 49ers, and then they play Dallas again this week. Like, they've been on
that was their gauntlet.
titan of a schedule right here.
So we're sitting there going, oh, like any given Sunday, but like 13 days of that.
Yeah.
And then Dallas played Carolina.
And
who else did they play? I forgot who was after Carolina. They played someone else that wasn't very good. And then they played Seattle. Like, it's not like there was like this massive or this close.
And Dallas was blowing out the teams they were playing This is still the Eagles schedule.
Oh.
What I was going to say is Dallas blew out most of the teams they played in that stretch. They were hanging 40 spots. Whereas when Eagles beat Kansas City 21-17 in Kansas City, like, you're playing a tight game on the road. Then you play Buffalo at home.
Commanders.
Wasn't it a rainy day when they played Buffalo and they still hung a 37-34, had to come all the way back? Like, high emotion, high intensity football games before you go to play against San Francisco. And yes, it's a home game. But San Francisco weren't they coming off like a mini bye? Like, didn't they have the 10-game off day or something?
Yeah.
Like,
and then you have Dallas, who played Carolina and Washington, and then after facing those, went to face Seattle.
Yeah,
like, there's a big difference in those
change.
3 games in that 12-day stretch to the 3 games that Philadelphia had in the 13 days.
Huge difference there for sure. But
speaking of those teams, how about Dak? Basically, Dak and Purdy. I'm going to lower Purdy there, but Dak being basically the front runner of the MVP race right now.
What if I told you that it shouldn't be a quarterback? If Tyreek Hill hits 2,000 yards, it should be his.
I think it should be.
I'm just saying. We make it a quarterback award, but if I'm going to pick between... it kind of goes back to what we talked about. Dak played Purdy and he lost the game, but I don't think Purdy should get the Super Bowl or the MVP nod because he plays with 4 All-Pros all around him at every skill position and has an average level O-line that gives him enough time to get through all this. Tyreek Hill has to beat his matchup every week to do what he's done, and he's done it in a way that nobody could have thought he was going to be. When he left Kansas City, there's no way you'd have thought he was this good.
If I'm being honest, what they need to do is just remove the MVP name and figure out like the Johnny Unitas Award, or not Johnny Unitas, but the Tom Brady Award. I mean, we only got like 2 names. It's Tom Brady or Joe Montana.
Yeah, no, I got you.
So you name it after a quarterback. That way you know it's a quarterback award, and then offensive player award is for a running back or a receiver, like one of those guys.
I mean, they've basically said, because that was always the other part I find annoying, is we give the MVP to a quarterback, which is the lead of your offense, but then we always give the offensive player of the year to someone on the other positions. Like, well, no. If he's the offensive player of the year, or if he's the MVP, he was probably the offensive player of the year. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and that's all it is just it's the quarterback award without being called a quarterback award.
Exactly, and so it would be. I mean, it's been what, early 2000s since somebody
I
else
think
won.
Adrian Peterson was the
Adrian
last
Peterson was
one.
the last
Yeah.
non-quarterback. It would be insane to see if the Browns could have kept winning games with how good Myles Garrett was playing. Like, there were whispers that he should have been in an MVP conversation. There were years when was it Ray Lewis had a couple of years where they talked about that they felt that he could have been in there because of how well he quarterbacked the defense around him. Like,
Okay.
they were like, there's things that he brought to the Ravens defense back in the day that are intangibles that made everyone else so much better. That sure, he might have only had 150 tackles and the other guy had 200, but like, it was just these numbers that were pretty and crazy about it. So yeah.
Him and Boulware.
Oh yeah, they used to be stupid good back then.
But yeah, I love the fact that, I mean, Dak is doing a phenomenal job. Now, Dak has also got a lot of talent around him also. But he ain't got the talent that Brock Purdy's got.
He does not have the talent that Brock Purdy's got, but that's why I said I play the head-to-head matchup at that point. Tiebreaker goes to Purdy, and since I don't want Purdy to get it, I think you got to give it to a guy that's... you could have made a case that Cooper Kupp had a run for it when he had the Triple Crown season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the sad part is that you can't even assume that Tyreek Hill has a chance if Kupp couldn't get it when he had a Triple Crown season.
Yeah, I mean, he won Offensive Player of the Year, though.
Yeah, but he should have won. Didn't the Rams, win the Super Bowl?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty MVP. Like, just saying.
And then Stafford won MVP. The Super Bowl.
Of the Super Bowl, yeah. Because only because Beckham tore his ACL. I thought Beckham was gonna win Super Bowl MVP,
Oh, yeah.
and then he tore his ACL because he was fucking balling that game.
He was.
I think he was at what was it, 5 for 120 in the second quarter or something like that.
He was doing really, really well.
So.
And then behind those two was actually Hurts, and honestly, like, when you stack the stats up beside each other, like even with total, you start looking at the total turnovers.
Because he fumbles.
Yeah, like it's like when you're looking at without the turnovers, you're going, these guys are like somewhat close, like, and then you put in the turnover and you're like, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
Because it's like 13 turnovers right now, and then Dak and Purdy both have like 5.
Yeah, well, and
Total.
the other thing that really inflates Hurts' numbers is
The tush
he's got
push or
15
the
touchdowns from
brotherly
the
shove.
1 yard line.
Yeah.
Like, he's basically Jamal Williams this
Yeah.
year. Like, so that definitely helps.
And that's why I take some of it back, because I don't even think he's the MVP of that play. It's Jason Kelsey. Like, without Jason Kelsey, I don't
Yes,
think that's even
Jason
that
Kelsey,
good of a line.
I don't think people think about how much weight ends up on top of that
Yes,
man every time
yes.
they run that play.
That is scary.
Like,
and I think that's why
That's
Ron Goodell
why
wants to
he
get rid
wants.
of it.
Well, that, and I think that's probably like if you're the Eagles and you don't want to lose your All-Pro safety, like you'd almost think that you would minimize using it some. They run it every fucking game, 7, 8, 9, 10 times
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's like this should be used 2 to 3 times a game in a must-need situation. Do some creativity with it because you're putting 1,000 pounds on top of your all-pro center that runs your whole offensive line.
Yeah. and that's why he's like, it's funny because they might end up banning it next year,
That's what we've heard.
and he's going to be retired anyway because like he almost retired this year.
Yeah, he's
at the end of his road. So I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up doing it and he retires, and then all of a sudden they're like, because before they were doing the tush push brotherly shove thing, they were 36 for 38 on quarterback sneaks. Like, they were still good at it, and
yeah, they can
all that
still
says
do
is Jason Kelsey is a bad dude.
Yeah,
Because they were
still
doing
get
it with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, exactly. But you get, even if they got to just the old school style of quarterback 1 yard runs behind Kelsey and Hurts, they're getting it every time.
Yeah.
Hurts can lift a human. Like, he's 600 pounds on those thighs. Like, he's getting 1 yard.
That's why, like, I don't know. Like, it's dangerous. And, like, we know how dangerous it is now because for some ungodly reason, Houston decided that it would be okay to put their 5'8", 165-pound receiver
Devin Tompkins? No, that's the
Tank Dell
Tank Dell, yeah.
in the middle of this, and he fractures his fibula, and now he's out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like,
Tough.
why
didn't
would you
realize that
have
was what
such
got
a
him hurt.
little dude in the middle of that?
Even out there, when you get to that point, the entire play should be, hey, check in the extra offensive tackle. Hey, get the tight ends out.
Yeah, that little guy should not be out there at all. On that type of play, he should not be out there. They scored a touchdown. Dameon Pierce got his touchdown. But guess what? Now you just lost your best receiver.
Yeah. And for Dameon Pierce of all, bust
Exactly.
this season.
So, like, you know, it sucks. Because I say it sucks because, you know, he was on two of my teams.
It sucks because I had him
But
on the
it
bench.
also sucks because such a young guy,
Promising
this
start
star.
to the season, and the Texans are legitimately pushing for a playoff spot. Like I said, I've been sitting here running these 500 different simulations for it, and every time I do it, the damn Texans finish with like 10 wins. The Texans, the Colts, and the Jags all finished with 10 wins. They're all in the playoffs. They went from one of the worst divisions in football to one of the best, and like I'm running another one while we're carrying it out right here, and I've got the Colts are 9-5 now. The Texans are 9-5. Hell, the Jags are third in their division now because of Lawrence being hurt. Like you kind of have to assume that they're
Yeah.
gonna stumble.
Yep.
I mean, and they play the next 2 weeks. They've got the Browns. We talked about the Browns' defense is stupid good.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco didn't look bad. I mean, crazy race going there. Then you roll over and they play Jacksonville plays the Ravens. Well, that's 2 losses. So, right.
C.J. Beathard and Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I
C.J.
can't.
Beathard against that Ravens defense.
I wish I could find the list of. I was reading a list earlier today, and like if you go down and look, just looking at the matchups this week because of all the injuries, because we are between injuries and benchings. This week, for example, you've got insert backup. Or tomorrow night, you have whoever the backup quarterback is for the Steelers.
Trubisky.
Yeah, Trubisky. So you have Mitch Trubisky versus Bailey Zappi, who very well might get benched in the first quarter for Malik Cunningham. Like, who thought you were going to look forward to that matchup this season?
Yeah.
Then you
I
have.
won't be watching it anymore.
Oh, I will. I don't have anything to watch it for. I don't think. Stevenson's hurt. Demario Douglas is hurt. Like the only things worth looking at on New England's team are hurt.
Yeah.
Like, and then Tim. I mean, I got George Pickens, so maybe, hopefully, but I mean, you know, it's like they might as well have kept Matt Canada if they're gonna lose Kenny Pickett. Like, but then you have Minshew versus Browning.
Yep.
Like, are you looking at the list of it too? Did you find it? Yeah. Was there Beathard versus Flacco?
You got Beathard versus Flacco. Baker versus Ritter,
Yeah.
which is both starters, but
Zach Wilson
low
starting
end
again.
starters.
Yeah, they're. I mean, technically Ritter got benched, and then he's only starting because what's his name got hurt. So really, he's a backup again.
Then you got Dobbs, who is
He officially got called the starter.
against Aiden O'Connell, and then Bryce Young versus Jameson Winston.
Yes,
Jameis
because
Winston.
it sounds like you know what though, Jameis Winston's probably gonna win. Just saying.
Him and Chris Olave.
Am I wrong to think this? Early Jameis Winston was a problem because of his fact that he kept throwing the wrong team. And I don't know if it has to do with his eye surgery or not. Remember he had the eye corrective lens stuff done? It feels like Saints Winston hasn't been bad. Like the start of Saints Winston wasn't bad. And then he got hurt last season. Missed over half the season.
I don't think he's bad. Yeah,
I
I don't think he was bad.
I don't either. And like they stopped playing him last season, and they went with everyone else because this and that, and then he came back and they were like, well, he was hurt and everything else. They never gave him the job back like they kind of said it was his job to have.
Yeah.
And then they went out and signed Derek Carr, and I mean, yes, Derek Carr has not been as good as anybody could have, any of us we'd have thought we would have thought could have been. But like, I don't know, I guess if you look at your season and you're kind of kicking the bucket here and Carr's banged up and he hasn't done much, like, why haven't you just gone back to Jameis yet and said, one thing we know is he can sling it?
Yeah, and
Like-
he's going to.
he might throw it to the other team, but he's cut his interception numbers in half since he came to the Saints anyway. But you've got weapons that have barely been used this season.
And now Michael Thomas and Michael Thomas. I know he pointed out Carr, but Michael Thomas posted something on Instagram during the game about how certain quarterbacks injure their receivers, and like just left it at that, just because Michael Thomas is out with an injury.
Yeah.
Like, so he was pretty much calling Carr out for
it's
not being a good quarterback.
Yeah, like I almost wonder. I don't know. I did not like Jameis at Florida State. I didn't like him when he first came out, but then as he's been in the league a while and you kind of watch his career develop,
you got to eat that W, baby.
Well, you see, I'm making it as I'm sitting here talking about him. I think the weirdest part about it is it just seems like, as we've watched Baker get all these chances as a number 1 pick, we watched Bradford get all those chances. We watched all these number 1 picks get multiple tries. And it doesn't seem like anyone ever looked at Jameis and said, he needs a second chance. Like, I don't think he ever even got a serious second chance to be a quarterback in the NFL. The Bucs moved on once they got Brady. Okay, fine, I get it. But then he left the Bucs, and it was like no one.
He was competing with Fitzmagic in Tampa Bay too.
True, but he threw for 5,000 yards and 36 touchdowns in the league. Yes, he threw 30 picks too, but there's also numbers where we've seen plenty of ways where picks can be a funny stat. They're not always the quarterback's fault. There's communication breakdown and everything else. There's guys in the league that we've got. The Bears haven't had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards in 10 years. Like,
who was the last one? Jay Cutler?
Yeah, like we're not talking 5,000.
Shoot, I don't even think that was 10. I think that was more than 10.
I was saying, it's probably more than 10. Like, I don't know. I just feel like maybe the guy's kind of got the shaft in his career that most first number 1 overall picks didn't get, as far as chances to prove more. If I was him, you know what I'm doing? I'm going and signing in Seattle in the offseason.
So, Jay Cutler never threw for 4,000 yards with Chicago.
He didn't. Yeah, I was saying, you might have to go all the way back to
like his last season in Denver is the only time he threw for 4,000.
Which is crazy because you think Jay Cutler and you think gunslinger. Braden Marshall was his teammate.
3,600, 3,200, 2,300 in 10 games. 3,000, 2,600, 38, 36, and then 5 games.
Yeah.
Just he threw for 4,000 yards once.
Yeah, so I don't know. You just looked at it and I don't know. Like I said, seriously though, if I'm Jameis, because he's coming up 31 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Jameis, I go sign it. He's a free agent, right? They keep bringing him back on 1-year deals.
Yes.
I'd go ask if the Seahawks need a backup quarterback. They've already proven that they're going to keep the veteran in the room.
Exactly.
If Geno plays like shit, he's better. We know he's better than Drew Lock already, so you're already taking the backup job. If you go there, you're a team where you can sling the rock with weapons all around you. If you got there in the next 2 years, or if Geno goes down, like there's your chance to show out that you have a chance to be a guy somewhere in the league. I don't know. Maybe I'm overshooting Jameis Winston, but
I don't think no.
I mean, I just feel like he hasn't gotten it.
Let's see. Cover podcast if he will be the first. There's never been a Bear throw for 4,000 yards
in franchise history. 4,000 yards isn't even that much in the modern NFL. Like,
because
we have 5 games left in the season, and there's like 7 quarterbacks with 3,600 yards.
Like, they Justin Fields was asked in July if he thinks he'll be the first Bears quarterback to reach 4,000 yards.
Golly.
So there has never been a Bears quarterback throw for 4,000 yards in a season, ever.
That's absolutely bonkers.
So that kind of blows my mind. I didn't realize it was that bad. Didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, like I don't know. It just seems crazy to me that he never got more opportunities.
But did you hear about the Hayden Hurst news?
I did not hear about Hayden Hurst.
Okay, so he's got some stuff going on with him, man. Like some bad stuff.
Oh no.
So his father came out and said in a tweet and said that he that Hayden has been diagnosed with post-traumatic amnesia by an independent neurologist from the hit he took in Chicago. So, like, basically, he doesn't know what's going on around him right now. And so they don't know when he'll be able to even come back to play football.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know that he might ever want to play
Yeah.
football again. Like dealing with that kind of stuff, like that's probably when you start contemplating retirement.
So, it's a pretty heavy hit. Especially, like, what's cool is several years ago when Dak came out about all his depression stuff,
Yes.
like the game that they played against the Falcons when Hayden Hurst was still playing for the Falcons, after that game he ran up to him and like there was a big video of it, him going, "Hey man, I just want you to know I'm glad you like spoke out because there's a lot of us that suffer from depression that we're afraid to talk about it." Like it had a video of it and like
yeah.
I appreciate you for stepping up for us all.
For doing that.
And I was like, "Damn." Like you don't realize how many of those guys like deal with that stuff. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, like we think of them
So
because
it sucks that
athletes.
someone like that is going.
Yeah,
going
especially
through
when it's a
something
good
like this.
person, a good dude like that. Like you've got. Oh my goodness.
So, yeah,
Man.
it's a crazy little thing there. And then Dong Kong Su is going to be signing soon with the team. More than likely, he's going to be re-signing with the
He
Eagles.
waits until there's about 5 weeks left in the season. He jumps on the roster, provides 12 snaps a game, and then tries to win him a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah,
There's paycheck for that.
there he is. So he's that's what he's planning to do. I wouldn't be surprised if he signs with a team, more than likely the Eagles, after this week.
More than likely the Eagles, you say.
Oh yeah, because that's actually what's being announced is the likely destination is back with Philadelphia, where he played last year.
Okay, that makes sense then. Going back to where he was.
So that was that's basically all the football news with Sunshine having a high ankle sprain,
Yeah,
Pickett having a high ankle sprain,
that ankle sprain totally just plunders Jacksonville's season for me.
and then Derek Carr having a concussion symptoms, and then like one of the bigger ones that no one's really talking about because it's not a superstar offensive player or anything is Aleem McNeil, the nose tackle for the Lions. Like so he had I forgot what he had. I didn't write it down. But he's done for the year.
Oh wow.
And he was like their big interior dude that was helping stop everything that coming up the middle. So losing him is going to be tough for their defense.
Okay.
So that's going to be if we start seeing people run all over their defense, that's why is they don't have that big run stuffer up there in the middle anymore.
Well, all right. We'll have to keep an eye out for that then. Let's see. That says we moving over into the NBA real quick
Yep.
because we probably don't know what kind of camera length we have left too. So we did have the in-season tournament yesterday. LeBron went out and had him a ball game to help the Lakers advance. Just saying, he had him a ball game. He did something that
Did we watch that ball game? Because I watched some highlights of that ball game.
I didn't watch any of it. I just saw the scores. I just saw the stat line, and then I saw the thing that said no Lakers done this since Kobe Bryant did it in whatever year. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I was watching Yellowstone.
let me just say Udoka might be right. Calling LeBron a little bitch.
Oh, I remember that.
Udoka, the head coach for
The Rockets now.
For the Rockets, yeah, called him a bitch.
Did he really? I didn't hear
That's
that.
why they got into that little argument on the sideline. Is because he called him a bitch, and then LeBron was like, "Hey, we don't need to be throwing those kind of words around." And no, he called him a soft ass bitch. That's what it was.
Golly, you're getting at it aggressive.
But
no
so
wonder Boston fired him.
yeah. So let me see what it was. All right. So there was a play where LeBron was dribbling down the court and threw it at dude you hate, D-Book. Literally threw it at his
Dylan
foot.
Brooks.
No, D-Book.
Oh,
Devin
Devin
Booker.
Booker. Yeah, I hate that guy.
Literally threw it at his foot on purpose, and then complained to the ref that he kicked the ball, trying to get a kickball, and they were like, And then they went back and looked at it on replay. They're like, oh yeah, you could see that he looked right at his foot and just chunked it at it.
Hey,
Like it was because they couldn't get the man by on the fast break, so he was going to do some bullshit.
hey,
At the end of the
play
game,
the game.
at the end of the game, so he didn't get that call, and he was like, "Hey, man, why'd you give me the call, man?" So at the end of the game, he throws it into Reeves, and they basically strip the ball from Reeves, and as the ball is stripped out of his hand, LeBron is over there calling a timeout, even though he doesn't have possession of the ball, and they gave him the timeout.
Oh man.
Like, it was the craziest shit. And then after the game, the referee, whatever, came out, they're like, well, technically, like, the ball was touching his side when LeBron was calling the timeout, so technically he had possession, even though he didn't. And I was like, motherfucker, y'all couldn't see that shit. There was 3 dudes on that motherfucker.
I'm just glad anytime the Suns lose. So.
Yeah. I'm not a LeBron fan, so.
I just will take, at this point in my life, I really just like anytime Kevin Durant and Devin Booker lose because I hate both those little bitches. And the fact that Devin
NBA
Booker
is full of some soft-ass motherfuckers.
The fact that Devin Booker led the Suns in rebounds should be a problem. Right?
Wow.
Like, he led them in rebounds last night against the Lakers. 11 boards. Like, the other impressive stat is the fact that Anthony Davis had 9 offensive rebounds.
Really?
Like, he only had 6 defensive rebounds. He had 9 offensive rebounds last night.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to get an offensive rebound than a defensive rebound. Now I wonder how many points he scored, because if he had that many rebounds, he should have been getting put back city. Like,
Unless it was him breaking on and getting his own
yeah,
rebound.
he had 27. Also true. Yeah, he did shoot 38.5% from the field last night. He had 27 points. So, 15 rebounds. But, well, they advanced to play the Pelicans, who pretty much only advanced because, Brandon Ingram went bonkers.
Oh, yeah.
So that was what it said. It is kind of funny anytime the Pelicans now play the Lakers for something of meaning, since the Lakers like sent half their team to the Pelicans when they got Anthony Davis. Even though a few of those guys are gone now, like they still they're always going to be kind of tied together. Brandon Ingram will be there, guys like that. But then the Pacers and the Bucks will play. I'm down for any time we get to watch Tyrese Maxey play.
Right.
Not Tyrese Maxey. What's his name?
Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton plays. That dude's a monster.
So, yesterday there was a video of Giannis. He didn't know that they were getting paid for
the in-season tournament?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So they were asking him about it, and he was like, "Oh, rich getting richer."
Well, it's weird that you usually. I mean, we know the Bucks aren't playing defense this year, but we're used to the Knicks playing defense, and they gave up 146 to the Bucks. 146 points. Freaking Giannis only had 35, and he led the Bucks in scoring. Like, everybody was going off. Cameron Payne had 12 points. Bobby Portis and them big ol' eyes. You ever seen Bobby Portis' eyes? Boy, them things are just like, let's see. Beasley, 18. Lillard, 28. Like, you know about balanced scoring. And the one I'd have lost on is I'd have taken the over of Brook Lopez, because he usually scores well. He only had 9 points. So, but yeah, in-season tournament, they play tomorrow night. Tomorrow afternoon. Holy smokes. Bucks and Pacers play at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Maybe it's 5 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock Central. Either way, that's still really freaking early. But that's what time that game is tomorrow. And then Lakers Pelicans go at 8 p.m. on TNT. And then they play the finals. Both these games are in Vegas. And then the finals will be in Vegas Saturday, right? Is that Saturday's the night? Yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah.
So we'll find out our first ever in-season tournament champion. Is it going to be the Lakers, the Bucks? Who finds out next time? Actually, we will talk about it next time. It'll be next week's show. We've already gotten through all that. So, yeah, there's some games running through tonight. The Mavs are mollywhopping Utah right now, in case you care. They're up by 19 with 2 minutes to go, or 3 minutes to go in the second. So,
yeah.
But
hopefully they can hold on to that.
Yeah, otherwise, not a ton of, basketball, you got anything else? What else you got for it? Nothing really? Yeah, then there's still some rumors swirling in baseball. Really not. The meetings are going on right now. They're actually coming near the end of the winter meetings now. Shohei's ruled down his list, but he hasn't finalized anybody. I've heard there's some people that are like, he's really close to the Braves. Then the Braves will come out and say, we haven't talked to Shohei at all. I'll say this, though. It was said from day one of Shohei's courtship process here is that he would penalize teams that leaked information. Like he wanted it to keep his privacy. He's always been a private guy. That's why it's kind of shocking to some people that he wants to go to like an LA, because
Makes sense.
He's more of that introvert guy. So it's literally anybody's game. Like every team, because like the other day, a week and a half ago, we said the Rangers were out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you heard the GM of the Rangers say, one official for the Rangers say, we're not really going to be spending like we have in the past. But then you heard the GM for the Rangers the other day say, if we need to make a move, we'll make the move, like in an aggressive tone. So, like, it's so many mixed messages. I mean, there's been a couple. I think
that's what it is.
Juan Soto was supposedly traded to the Yankees hours ago,
mm-hmm.
but we have yet to hear the details of the deal, which tells me that deal's not done yet.
Oh, okay.
So they're already trying to pencil him in, because then you had the Yankees do a trade with the Red Sox.
Yes.
That was allowed. It'd be like y'all calling the Eagles up and going, you want to trade us one of them defensive linemen? Like, no, they don't want to help you get better. Like, and they gave up a good player. Alex Verdugo is a good ball player.
Yeah.
And the Yankees had a crap outfield. And so if they go get Juan Soto, they slap in Verdugo, and then you can move Judge out of center. Gee whiz. You don't even need Giancarlo Stanton to stay healthy anymore. Which is good, because he can't. But, no, other than that, it's really not been. The Rangers signed Kirby Yates. Very good reliever, but he's 37, 38, something like that.
Oh, he's really odd.
Yeah, he's an older guy. He had a good season last year, like a 3.24 ERA. But, like I said, older guy. They kind of... You're going to get older free agents when you're patching a bullpen together. That's what you're going to get. So you'll probably see the Rangers do a few of those, because you don't have Chapman or Will Smith back next year. They're both free agents.
I'm going to be honest, I don't want Chapman back.
You want Chapman back or Will Smith back if you had to pick one? At least Chapman can come in and throw hard to lefties. I'll take my chances with Chapman. Will Smith started getting rocked hard.
Every time I saw Chapman come in, I'm going, oh, God, here we go. Here we go.
Well, that's just because we watched a whole season of here we go. That said, with baseball and all that, the first time in my life the Rangers released the opening day, or like the regular season single game tickets before the turn of the new year. They used to have a whole carnival event where you go and you could actually buy tickets on site first. And then they would release them online after people would come to this fair event, like about an hour after it was open. They'd start letting them go out online and stuff. They put single game tickets online the other day, and they've been out there to be picked up for a couple of days now. What happened? Breaking news? No?
I don't know if it's a...
Syracuse football? This heater getting all hot on my ankle.
Okay. Syracuse head coach Dick McPherson died today.
Oh, former Syracuse.
Oh, no, wait.
It says 2017.
Who did?
Epic fail on that notification. But that said, I'd love to talk more on baseball. There's just not been a lot of movement. We wait for teams to come together, small deals. Bryce Harper wants to stay in Philly for the rest of his career. He's trying to get an extension worked out. So.
Say that again.
Bryce Harper, extension, wants to stay with the Phillies, so they're working on that. He's apparently really liking it in there, and he's looking to retire Philadelphia Philly. So, good for him. He's another guy that I didn't like his original hype coming out, and then as he settled down, I started to like the guy. I like Bryce Harper now. So.
All right, it was Coach McPherson from Wills Point.
Oh. Totally non-sport. Well, still sport-related.
Yeah.
It's not fact. But that said, I will send you...
The other thing is the Guardians got the number one pick
Yeah.
despite a 2% chance of getting it.
I didn't even know the MLB went to a lottery. Like, why? Prospects in baseball are the hardest ones to hit in any sport. Like, because of the arm injuries and everything else they get. Like, when the hell? Why the hell are we going to a lottery? The A's had the number 1 pick 100 times and they still suck. So, I didn't understand that, but yeah, Guardians, Indians, whatever. I don't know who the number 1 prospect is.
I have no clue.
Who will the Guardians pick first? We'll see here. He looks like a kid from Wake Forest. Yeah, because last year's MLB draft had all the hype because you had the 2 kids at LSU. Wake Forest has always got some decent ball players. Let's see. Top high school recruits are out of Summerville, South Carolina, an outfielder. It's PJ Morlando, Connor Griffin, an outfield pitcher. Cam Caminetti. I'm wondering if he's related to Ken Caminetti. Pretty uncommon last name.
Yeah.
He's from Scottsdale, Arizona, too. Probably. He's a pitcher outfielder. You have Noah Franco from Florida and Bryce Rayner from Simi Valley, California. And then you've got the top college prospects, which are a first baseman, Nick Kurtz from Wake Forest, shortstop from West Virginia, second baseman from Oregon State, Travis Bazina, the Jack Caglianon, the pitcher first baseman from Florida, the kid that had so he pitched in the national championship. He had like a 101-mile fastballs, a lefty, like he throws pretty good gas, and he's just got command issues, but he hit 36 home runs at the plate too. Like they're saying that he does it both at Florida, and he's trying to be like Shohei, like he wants to be that kind. And then Chase Byrne, a pitcher from Wake Forest. Wake Forest actually has 2 of the top 5 prospects in baseball. So one of those guys, I'm not sure who will go number 1, but those are the guys looking and listening. And
Who was that? Ken Caminetti?
Yeah, it would be Ken Caminetti's son, I'd assume. Or grandson. No, Ken Caminetti ain't that old.
Let me see.
Cam Caminetti. Right here. Caminti. But I guess it's not like last year where we just knew who the number 1 pick was going to be all along. The kid out of L. Actually, I guess he didn't go number 1. Number 2.
Oh, okay. So Ken Caminetti died from a drug overdose.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Hopefully not related.
Good Lord, speedball of cocaine and heroin.
Oh my! There's your story of the night. In case you didn't know, Ken Caminetti's been dead for a while.
Yeah, 2004. Dang, when I was a senior.
God bless. He's been gone that long. When did he stop playing ball?
2001 was his last year with the Braves, with the Rangers and Braves.
Huh. That's crazy.
For personal
Get about how far back some of these guys have been.
Ken Caminetti has 3 daughters. So it might be a nephew.
Apparently, Doran Robinson practiced today, but did not return to practice, but has not been removed from percussion protocol, and there's no named starting quarterback for the Browns this weekend. It might not be Flacco.
No, it'd be Flacco.
If he's not out of concussion protocol, for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But if he's in concussion, if they let him out of concussion
it's
protocol,
gonna be DTR again.
you got to go back and see what you got in the kid. So that'll be interesting.
There's not really any information on Cam.
And I guess he's no relation, so we tried to find out. But
Yeah.
that is, you know what? We probably got like 5 minutes of camera life battery left. Just guessing here. I know what we wanted to bring up this week. Loki.
Oh, did you watch it?
Oh, I finished it. I watched it the night. It was so good.
It's amazing.
It's so good. I don't want to give away things because it's technically, in my opinion, within the window that you have an excuse if you haven't seen it yet. But man, the character arc of Loki has got to be some of the greatest cinematic character arcing of all time. And then the fact that they literally went full circle, but literally stayed with what he always said he was going to be. It's crazy how well they were able to get him to that point.
And like the significance of what he is now.
Yes, like he literally is. He's a god, like a true god, like he always said he was gonna be or was. And except for now, he's everything you. It's funny that you look back at Thor and realize that Thor always said he wasn't fit to be the king, and he gave up his kingdom. Like he didn't want to rule Asgard. And then you look at what happens with Loki and how he gets to where he gets, and you're like, damn, maybe the dad was training the wrong one to be the king. Like, should have let the Frost Giant sit on the throne, and we might have still had Asgard. Like, just being honest here.
They might have.
It's just, but at the same time, it's also the fun part of how the timelining effect comes in to get to that version of Loki again, because you can almost see a path where the Loki that does die in the MCU was making those kind of strides himself. So, but yeah, so that you enjoyed that one?
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Did you see? Did you see the Marvels?
No.
I like it. The movie, I did like it. Like they did. It did a good mix of kind of funny, and then I will say that Brie Larson was way more. I don't know. The last time she was very upset feeling the whole freaking movie. There's a lot more like they loosen her up, and she kind of throws a little more personality into the role. It was like she kind of grabbed being the other side of Carol Danvers, or instead of just being the I'm a badass superhero, she kind of was able to loosen up and be Danvers at times, and that was pretty cool. Like it was silly in some of the ways, like we've seen some of the Marvel movies have trended at times, but it does show some pretty cool things. If you didn't watch the Miss Marvel or the Miss Marvel TV show, like it does her character pretty cool. Like the whole family's in it from that show.
Oh, like the one good thing that I've heard from everything is her.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, like everyone loves her.
I would say the only one that's kind of a joy kill throughout is
Rambo,
and what they do with her process and everything else. But the teaser at the end makes the whole movie that much even better. I don't know if you've even seen the whispers of them.
Like I'll watch it whenever it comes on Disney Plus, but like I'm not gonna waste my money on.
I gotcha. I just it's kind of like Fast and the Furious movies for me. Like I've invested at this point. Like I'm going and I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna either like it or I'm not. But I always go into every movie with the expectation that it's gonna suck. Like, I don't ever go into a movie and I'm just like, this is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be the best movie ever. I'm excited about it, but I am just ready to assume the worst. And so I guess maybe that's why I'm a little more optimistic about some of them. Like I might look at a movie and be like, I thought it was pretty good. Like these are things I liked about it. And then you hear people are like, it was terrible. And you're like, well, okay.
And a lot of people are going in expecting it to be bad.
True.
Or not expecting it, going in wanting it to be bad.
That's also true because of all the backlash that a Brie Larson gets, and some unfair, I think, that, like, I never understood why we as the people watching give a person like a Brie Larson a hard time because supposedly she's hard to work with. Like, I don't have to work with her. Why the hell does that affect my decision about her?
So that actually brings up a good thing here. What was her name? Katherine Heigl. So she was known for being hard to work with.
Yeah.
And she came out and talking about it. She goes, it's not that I'm hard to work with. It's I'm not going to let people run over me. Yeah. So I'm going to stand my ground. And if that means that I'm hard to work with, then I'm hard to work with. Yeah. I'm not going to let people just run me over. And I was like, that's what people don't understand.
Yes, that's
they hear hard to work with, and she's probably like this diva. No, she just doesn't want to be ran over. If she's gonna put her time, energy, and everything into being in this movie, she's gonna have a voice.
Yep. I respect that. Like I would want to have.
I think there's a lot of misunderstanding whenever it comes to that, especially that term, because it's got a negative connotation. And the Stars lost to the Flames 5-4.
Oh. But no, that would see that. I mean, and then there's really nothing else Marvel down the pike for a while.
Mm-mm.
The next Marvel thing I think is gonna be Deadpool in 24, late 24.
20. Yeah.
I think because there's been delays because of all the writers'
It
strike.
might be
That's
25
kind of
before
all
it
coming
finally
into
comes
play.
out.
That's
'Cause,
the only.
You got Weapon X coming in, the girl.
Yeah.
So she's going to be in it. And then I heard. What was his name?
I wonder if the person that they dropped in the end of the Marvels will be in it.
There's crap. I forgot the guy. Carl Urban. So he's going to be a variant of Wolverine.
Oh yeah, I heard that
So-
one, and then there's been so many. I'm almost worried that this one's gonna have too many tries to cameo every one movie. You know those movies where they have all these big stars, and when it's over, you're like, I don't feel like the movie ever developed because we spent too much time making sure everyone got their 10 seconds of fame.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of getting worried that we're gonna see that because, like, I watched Deadpool because Ryan Reynolds is hilarious.
Yeah.
I want to see Ryan Reynolds be Deadpool. All the other stuff's gonna be cool, and since it's supposed to bring help bring the X-Men world in and
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
stuff, that's what kills me that you haven't watched
And
this movie
then-
yet because, like, I almost want you just to pull up the end credit
Uh-huh.
scene because of who's in it.
Is it? It's not Pedro Pascal. There's someone.
Yes, Pedro Pascal agreed to be Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, okay, Mr. Fantastic. Okay.
Thought that was a strange choice,
I thought
but
it was.
I was like, that's unusual, but okay.
He's a hot name right now, so I get it.
Yeah. Ever since he started with Mandalorian, I mean, he did. I mean, Game of Thrones before that, but
The Last of Us.
yeah, he was in that too. So
So yeah, he's building his name up.
it'll be interesting to see how things go because there has been some sluggish spots in the build up for the Kang Dynasty. There's a whole rumor that they were going to scrap it. I think you've got too much invested this far in to scrap it.
It's going to be really tough to scrap it.
Yeah, I think especially now that everything's worked out, it seems like with Jonathan Majors, like you kind of have to just follow the course. Like just
Like,
stay
if
your
you were going to
course and
change
let
it,
it go.
If you were going to do anything, you would have done it during that Loki TV series to try to work it somehow. Even like a just a little teaser at the end where you kind of find out that maybe he wasn't anything.
Yeah, but
and
like
we thought he
exactly,
was.
and then by the time the way Loki ends, you really realize that like he is that guy. Like it's coming.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I guess that kind of takes care of it tonight.
No.